Paparazzi Henry for PopTV.com. That lovely SHAUNA SAND talked about the charges being dropped against her and the charges against her husband standing. Also listen to her terrific attorney, Diana Fitzgerald, and her spokesman and friend, Elliot Mintz. Thank you. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Henry. How are you?
Hello, Elliot. Hello, SHAUNA.
Hi, Henry.
Diana.
Hello.
Is everything well?
I'm okay, thank you. How are you doing, SHAUNA?
I'm much better, thank you. I'm
Glad to hear it.
yes,
So
I'm quite relieved.
Tell me the latest, SHAUNA.
Well, I actually all of the charges against me were dropped, and my case was completely dropped this morning. So I'm just very grateful, very relieved, very honored to have, you know, my dear friend Elliot supporting me, and the best attorney in the world, Diana Fitzgerald, who has stood by my side and just been absolutely wonderful. I'm quite lucky, and I'm very grateful.
And so is your husband currently in jail?
No, my husband was released this afternoon, to my knowledge, and the charges for him as well were dropped. So, but I do have the restraining order in place to keep him far away from me, and as well as I did file for divorce. So that relationship is definitely over.
You must be very relieved about that.
I'm very relieved. I made the right decision, and I'm very lucky that nothing worse happened to me. It definitely needed to end that relationship. So I'm very, very grateful that I can move on now, and but I'm not getting married right now.
I think you've had it with marriage.
I've had it.
You?
Well, as soon as I'm divorced, I'll probably get married again, but no.
I don't think
She's only kidding.
I'm just kidding. At least you have to wait 6 months in California
Yes.
to get divorced.
And you'll
So
have to find a new man first.
Yes. I'm not really looking right now. That's the last thing on my mind. But I'm such a family person that I love having that, you know, I have 3 beautiful daughters, and I love the husband, and that whole little happy family. I just haven't been very lucky or very wise with my choices, so I'll be more careful in the future.
Yes.
Although I married this one after I knew him for a year. Normally I marry them after knowing them for 2 days.
A woman should be with a man for 18 months before she marries.
I'll remember that for next time.
Please. Take the great advice from the bachelor.
Yes. And your attorney, Diana Fitzgerald.
Hello.
Hello. What would you like to tell us this evening?
Well, again, like SHAUNA said, we're very pleased with the result, satisfied, and very much relieved. And she can now go on with her life and move past this bad incident. And at the end of the day, we always believed that the charges were going to be dropped, but knowing that it happened so quickly, it feels much better for SHAUNA, and so we're very pleased with that.
And you are a big supporter of women's rights, aren't you?
Absolutely. I think SHAUNA did everything that she possibly could, from calling the police to protecting herself, to getting the restraining order, to moving on with her life and getting past this very bad incident that happened to her. Indeed, she's an inspiration, and she's a great example of how a woman should deal when they're in a bad situation, such as she was.
Well, I definitely was defending myself, and I made the right choices.
Yes.
Definitely.
Do you want to tell us what happened that night?
Maybe it would be better if you let Diana respond to that.
I think, like I said, SHAUNA wants to move on, and I think that ultimately she did what she had to do to protect herself, and that was recognized, which is why the charges were dropped, and we're very proud of her. So now it's time to just get past it. Those details are in the past.
So tell us a little bit more about yourself, Diana. You've been an attorney for 18 years.
Yes, that is true. And
she looks like a model.
She looks like a supermodel.
She's quite gorgeous.
Thank you.
Yes,
The most beautiful attorney I've ever met.
Thank you, Shauna.
Inside and out.
Great client, of course.
I'll second that.
Yes. And you, of course, represent Shauna as her spokesman, Elliot.
I look after media matters for Shauna when she is in need, and this time around, I am really delighted that this thing came and went as rapidly as it did. I also want to offer my appreciation to you, Henry, for covering, really an awful situation with the dignity that you always bring to your coverage. Everybody talks to you and everybody loves you.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, Shauna, I've known Shauna for years. She's always been a sweetheart.
She's an absolute sweetheart. And what Diana said, I think, should be underscored. You're looking at two powerful women, and I think that they are sending out a message to other women that you don't have to take it, and you don't have to put up with it. And a lot of women are afraid to pick up the phone and call 911, and a lot of women are afraid to take out restraining orders and do all the stuff that Shauna did. And, the advice that Diana gave is something that somebody watching you tonight might take with them and learn from.
And Shauna, would you like to send out a message to ladies out there, and ladies who support you, and ladies in general, of advice to them?
Do you guys understand it?
Pardon me?
Do you guys can't feel?
So Shauna, would you like to offer advice to your fans, to ladies out there who have had abusive relationships and are stuck?
Yes, well, first and foremost, I'd like to say that at the first sign of any kind of craziness or violence or jealousy or things that just don't feel quite right, it's best to leave, because they just progressively get worse and worse, and they will always end in something horrible and negative. So that would be the best advice that I could give to people that are in relationships that are just beginning. And then if you've gotten so far where it's just become every day is a challenge to lead a normal, happy, sane life because of the negative influence that you have from your spouse, it's best to just be strong as you can, and get out of the relationship, even if it hurts initially, and it's a difficult choice to make. Time heals all wounds, and it's just a matter of time before your life gets better. And people should just really try not to forget that. Right now, I'm getting a divorce. It's always difficult, but I know that I'm going to be sad for a short while, but in the long run I've made the right choice, and I'll be very, very happy with my life and my children, and everything will just be quite wonderful in the near future, and for long term.
That's great that you're very optimistic.
Yes, you have to be.
Yes. I know your children offer you lots of support, don't they?
Yes, they do. I have 3 angels.
Yes, you're very lucky.
I'm so lucky.
And what would you like to add, Diana?
I'd like to add that Diana, among other things, is my lawyer and my dear friend. And don't mess with Diana. And now I'd like to take the 2 ladies out for a great meal.
And thank you again, Henry, for everything.
And people that are violent, they don't change. So if they keep, this is very important, if they keep saying, oh, well, I'll change, I'll be a better person next time, perhaps there won't be a next time, and don't forget that.
That's great advice, Shauna.
Yes.
And thank you. I wish you all the luck.
Thank
Best of
you,
luck.
Henry.
Thank you. Good night.